You're listening to the Unreasonable Fridays Podcast Network.
Go ahead, stand up, stand up, stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up.
Welcome to another episode of Ad Space. I'm your host, Aaron Rand Freeman. But with me, the actual host, the CEO, CFO, Human Resources Head, Lead Designer, Social Media Manager, Public Relations Head, Chief Cat Wrangler, and Head and Payroll Department. You're not the head of the Payroll Department, but you work in it. But I don't know who the head of the Payroll Department is. Elise Bacon, ladies and gentlemen. How are you, Bacon?
You know, it does seem that we are missing a head of the Payroll Department.
That is something that we will look into long term. I've emailed the staff about it, and will be sure to follow up, but it is in my best interest and the company's best interest to locate the head of payroll. Wherever you are, head of payroll, please hit me up on Twitter, please. We need you. Whomever you are, please.
Contact me as the Chief Officer in Security. Thank you.
What will help expedite this awkward payroll situation is if you subscribe to our Patreon.
It's not awkward.
Help us by subscribing to our Patreon to make this a more successful experience.
This is patreon.com/onfridays. And then after we find our payroll person, all of that money will be properly divided up among the many employees working for Unreasonable Fridays. Evenly, with equity, force, and understanding, confidence, and caring. Thank you. With us, we also have the proper owner, the creator of the Black Astronauts Podcast Network, Aaron Bapp.
I kind of just like hang around. People just don't get rid of me. I just kind of stick around. It's kind of what happens on shows. Like Aaron's here. You wanna?
It's Aaron Bapp. You're the founder of Podcast Network. You've done the thing. A veteran of the sport, if you will. There's no reason why someone would get rid of you. It's like how you can retire from a sport, but we're still going to have you in the used car commercials. You're still going to sell us Icy Hot. You're still going to sell us Subway sandwiches. You're definitely going to be modeling them fucking Skechers. You're going to be driving the fucking Buick. Like, for real, there is no reason to not have you in circulation, no matter how long it's been. There's still value in the brand, and that's what matters.
From what I've heard from other people, the brand might be strong.
The brand is strong. That's why
brand is strong.
That's why we put your ass in the Buick and have you drive around and talk about how much your legs wiggle around in the motherfucker, because the brand is strong.
But I'm very short.
So right, it don't fucking matter. That's how much. There's so much leg room. The short niggas need extensions, and that's what we have. That's the point.
Hit the button.
There's no button.
The button. Thank you.
It's now the button.
Thank you very much.
That
was rude, but I'll take it.
It was not rude. Listen, man, I think nothing signifies legroom more than tiny people kicking their legs sitting on standard height things.
I am standard height, damn it.
Right. And let me tell you, as a person whose body will eventually be gnarled into a rusty fist at some point because I don't fit anywhere, I would love the freedom, besides having to sit on the second floor of a building, out of the second floor window of a building, to have my legs dangle in a footloose and fancy free fashion. That would be enormous for my just physical well-being. So please, don't take offense. You will live longer because you can fit in most rooms.
But I also have a kid. So there's that.
There's balance. That's
but no, I'm happy. I'm happy anytime to get the call to come hang out with y'all. So,
all right. we're all a little loopy. We're gonna do full disclosure.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's had a long day, and I think that it's important that if you've had a long day, understand that we see you, and that you're not being called upon. There will be no critical thinking here.
Don't take
There
this
will be
serious.
no current affairs.
Nope.
Today is long. Life is hard. We're going to ask what each of us have been playing, and we want you to take advantage of this as the various Black Friday sales cascade roll down the hill towards us in search of our money.
Might as well open up Steam if you just throwing it out there. Let me go ahead and ruin my other pocket.
Scroll, listen to the podcast, scroll your digital marketplaces. spend
Oh
your
my
money.
God. Don't go to Steam.
I refuse.
Oh my gosh. There's so much new just on sale already. Just brand new, just on sale.
Perfect. All right. So we're going to go around the horn. We're going to go with the CFO, Chief Financial Officer, of Unreasonable Fridays, Elise Bacon. Sometimes you're on video, so sometimes I ask you questions and you look at the camera like you just suddenly snapped to attention, like you've missed several minutes. And I said bacon, and then it's what?
I mean,
Yes.
that's not quite inaccurate.
Fine.
It's not accurate, but it's not inaccurate.
A good question is, what do I sound like in the background in those moments? Am I like Charlie Brown's parents? Like, someone is talking to you and a thing is happening, but you're not. It's absolutely positively of no value, and your brain is not recording the data.
It's you ever listen to like TV in the background,
Right.
and like you hear it. If somebody asked you what the plot, like what was going on, you could give them a rough idea of what was happening, but were you actually really listening intently? No. It's like that.
Well, to catch you up, what have you been playing, Bacon?
I have been mostly playing Final Fantasy 14, of course. Just doing a lot of I'm really glad the expansion got pushed back 2 weeks. Thank you, God. So I've been doing a lot of pre-expansion prep and just like trying to goodbye phone. I've been dropping stuff today.
One of those days. You're right.
I've been doing a lot of expansion prep and just like trying to get like all of the last little things done in Shadowbringers that I just don't want to fucking touch again. And so the extra time's been great. I just finished farming Emerald Extreme for the last time, and I got my fucking dragon, which let me get my super mecha dragon, and I'm sitting parked right now in front of the FC in the front yard for it because that's what I do.
So dope. It's so dumb big. Why is it so big? It's dumb how big this dragon is.
I love how giant it is, which is just funny because I played like the smallest race in the game.
In the Fenrir. Like the Fenrir is like tiny compared to that big old thing.
So huge. I'm gonna post them out on Twitter in a minute because like I'm also never doing Emerald Extreme again ever because it took me like well over 100 clears to get this goddamn mount, and never again. But I finally have it. I have my mounts. It's done. I can play Pokemon in peace because Pokemon Pearl came out. Shout out to Wonga. Thank you, Wonga. And Animal Crossing has had an update, which has been delightful. There's also a DLC for it. I'm not paying for the DLC because I have no money. Please subscribe to the Patreon and give me money.
Are the Gyroids DLC?
No, the Gyroids are patch.
Okay.
Or it's part of the update. So
because I was mad that I didn't have my Gyroids, and now they putting them in the game, and I'm like, okay, well maybe I'm coming back.
Yeah, there's an add-on to they also added ordinances. So just a really quick overview of stuff that they added to Animal Crossing. I don't know all of it, but they added some really good quality of life improvements. One of them being extra storage,
Oh, that's great.
which desperately needed. They also added an add-on to the museum called the Cafe, and then Brewster
Yes.
owns the
The homie,
cafe.
the homie is finally back. I'm so
Brewster
happy
who
they're
Brewster
bringing-
who owns the cafe is in charge of the gyroids.
I'm so happy they're finally bringing back old Animal Crossing character. Like,
And Kappa is back. So Kappa will take you once a day to
what color is it? Is he green or is it green?
I think he's green.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so Kappa's back. So once a day he'll take you on a trip. And you get to hear him singing. I took a little video of the last one because like he sings the most ridiculous shit. Like it's like a cross between like really like cute, like emotionally cute, like kind of like, you know, like sweet lyrics with nonsense, pure nonsense. And it's pretty great. I definitely recommend like looking up a video of like listening to like Kappa sing and like the little lyrics with it because it's hilarious. And then they added ordinances. So you have a little bit more control over your island. I don't know what all the ordinances are, but I did turn on the most important one, which is Beautiful Island Ordinance, which makes it so that you have to deal with way less weeds and your flowers grow more. So basically, as it puts it, the townspeople help with weeding and watering the flowers and whatnot.
Fantastic.
Right.
That's-
And then there's other ordinances, like there's money tree ordinance, and I have no idea what it does, but I'm gonna find out.
The Clean
so yeah.
Island ordinance sounds like slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Just-
Considering
just-
you,
Go on.
I mean, nobody has a job, which is fine. They all live in their houses for free.
Do they?
Yeah, they don't build, like you're the one who builds all the infrastructure and pays for everything for the entire island.
Tom Nook is he's doing
There's
the-
literally nothing wrong with Tom Nook.
Well, listen, Tom is
Tom
in the back end,
Tom Nook
getting a little-
builds your house.
and his little racist kids, Timmy and Tommy,
You
follow
leave them,
me around the store.
them sweet raccoon babies alone
Listen, why they gotta follow me around the whole store?
because they're 6.
Okay. Okay. Right on. First Tom Nook said to me, "Hello, how many bells?" Excuse me? Thanks, Tom. How are you? Been a while. None of that, huh?
He says hi. He does
Mhm.
conversation
Then he says, "I need 10,000 bells for my house."
to upgrade your house. No, actually, that's not even it. So, first off, he goes, "Do you want to upgrade your house?" You're like, "Yes." And he's like, "Awesome. Here's your house upgrade." And then he's like, "Okay, you have to pay me back 100,000 bells whenever you feel like it."
But I didn't ask him.
But you wanted him to upgrade the house, and he did.
You scammer.
And you can pay for it. You can pay off your house in however long you want. There's no interest on the amount of money. He's just like, "Pay me back whenever."
You
Sure,
don't
bro.
have an impatient daughter.
Sure, bro. I don't believe a word of that shit. That's a scam.
Scam.
How is it a scam?
That's the same thing I heard when I heard about this the first time we started talking. The first time Animal Crossing did the rounds, I heard about this Utopia scam.
How you got a museum ain't got no money?
Scam. Where's the money
That's not
coming
money.
from? Where's the money
Wait, what are you
coming
talking
from?
about? No museums have money. What the fuck are you talking about? That's normal.
I mean, this is very true. This is
Like, what are you smoking?
sadly true.
Like, what museum has money?
Not only do they have money, but they immediately have all their funding pulled as soon as anything goes wrong at all in the infrastructure of whatever city they're in, unless the city is like run by the exact right people.
Right.
It's like, oh,
And then, like, as soon as like one person is out, they lose their funding again.
yes. Yes, that is absolutely the God's honest truth. But yes, that's all I was saying. It just sounded a little fishy, but that's all. That's
I
all.
got Coke.
Excuse me?
Bacon.
Please put my Coke in the FC chest. Thank you.
No problem.
And I will from this point on need grade 6 dark matter. Thank you.
Oh my God, I got so much in my thing. I'll get.
Oh, so you guys are talking about Coca-Cola, the soda, right? Okay.
So there's a crafting material called Coke, and it's actually
Mhm.
What do you build with Coke, guys?
Every
hold on.
Is
Literally
that
everything.
why no one needs to work?
Oh gosh, no, that's Final Fantasy we talking about.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Yeah,
I thought
so
it was
it's
a
actually like it's actually like a thing that's commonly used even in real life in like construction. Like it's not Coke drugs, but it's actually a construction
It just happens
material.
to be white as well.
I understand.
But so in the game there's these things called submersibles and airships, and they take a lot of materials to craft, and almost all of those materials need this thing called Coke, and they need like a lot of it. Like to do one sub, I'm using anywhere from like 700 to 900 Coke. And you can only get Coke from like a special currency. So my FC members have no idea what to do with this currency because
We got everything.
they've already gotten everything. So they're like, what do I do with this? And I'm like, be my Coke dealer.
Huh.
So random people just drop off Coke in the FC.
Yeah, people just drop off Coke and sap. I need a lot of sap. And now I need grade 6 dark matter.
But tons of Coke.
So much Coke. Like I used like 1,200 Coke in one day, and then I was like, everybody's like, oh, we should have enough Coke, and I'm like, nope, it's gone.
A figurative mountain of Coke, if you will.
Yeah.
Noted.
So yeah, to craft each submarine part, so a submarine is in 4 parts, and each part is in 3 building phases. And there's like an item called like dark steel ingots. Dark steel ingots need 1 dark steel nugget and 9 Coke to craft, and I'll need 30 dark steel ingots.
It's a lot of Coke talk right now.
It's a lot of Coke talk.
I'm just leaving you guys to it. Like you guys have normalized whatever the fuck is going on. So at some point it becomes obviously culturally ignorant for me to comment on it if this is what you guys are doing and you guys have like a whole Coke situation. That's not
Whoa.
that is what you guys just described to me.
It's not a situation.
It is a situation. You use the Coke to build the submarines that go under the water that get you from place to place.
Those subs bring back money.
And the subs bring back. So you put the Coke in the subs, send the subs out, and the subs bring back money.
And other items. But yeah.
And other items like minions.
Oh, and bring back people.
No, minions aren't people.
Minions aren't people. That's a little racist. Okay, minions.
I mean, there are some minions that are people, but some of them are like literally a cactus.
There are a lot of people that are minions, actually.
I would say the ratio of humanoids to non-humanoids is very small.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one of them that's literally a pyramid. It's a pyramid with little legs.
So also in the upcoming update, Island Sanctuary, what do we get to do, Bacon? Let them roam in the grass.
Oh yeah, so with the Island Sanctuary, we get to garden and hang out with our minions in a chill environment, and there may or may not be instance housing on there. So I'm like really excited because I'm like, does that mean another house to decorate?
But mostly we let our minions run free.
Minions don't even do anything, so we can't even call them slaves.
Fair.
I mean,
I feel
I mean, I assume that was a situation like.
I mean, they're not like retainers where we pay them in fake currency.
and let them make sure they call us boss.
I mean, it's a really altruistic situation where you take the dregs of another society and give them cocaine in exchange for their safety. Like, it's actually really nice of you guys. And that's kind of why I'm not judging, is because, like I said, you guys have a situation. And trading cocaine for the lives of the disenfranchised
Coke,
and giving them a place.
no cane, Coke.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Sorry, officer. Coke for the lives of the disenfranchised is actually really thoughtful of everyone involved, and this is why I don't pass judgment, because I didn't know the whole story. Everyone's just like, "What Coke? What? Call local law enforcement." No, there's a reason why this is happening. Why all the Coke is being moved underwater via sub back and forth. There's a reason why. Bless you both for this. Thank you, Bacon. Thank you, Bab.
Yes. Coke is for the kids, actually, in reality. Just saying.
Bab, what have you been playing?
I've been playing some of everything, man. I am the epitome of an ADHD gamer in a lot of ways. Because I'll plug into a game for like 30 minutes. I'm like, ooh. Then I'll be like, ooh, a shiny piece of candy. And I'll go over and play another game, So I've been playing a ton of Hades. I finally beat it for the 13th time. Well, no, you have to beat it 13 times in order to get the true ending. So that last time, it's a story reason why you're actually doing it. It makes sense. So that last time I beat it, yeah, it was worth it. Well, I'm gonna keep playing that game. It may be in my it's highly rated in my like game feel category.
Right.
Along with like Symphony of the Night, or what's the new one that we both played?
Bloodstained.
Like how a game just feels good when you get powerful.
Yes.
That's how that game is, like where you feel like you're breaking the game, but no, like you're not supposed to break the game.
Yes.
Allowing you to, and you're cheating in a good, like you outsmarted the game.
Right.
And when you get powerful in that game, it gets like that. So I've been playing a lot of that. And what's the eating game? Goodness, I forgot it already.
Overcooked.
Oh no, Eden.
Oh, Eden, the eating game.
Oh, yeah.
No, One Step from Eden, the spiritual successor to Mega Man Battle Network.
If you have ever loved any type of real time RPG, like turn based but real time, oh my gosh, it's so hard to explain. If you've played Battle Network, you know it is exactly like Battle Network.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's really good. It's fast paced. It's a good variety of powers. It's also a deck builder, which I didn't realize until I got into it. And yeah, it's just a fantastic game. I've beat up to level 3, and then I kind of decided that that's a game that you're gonna have to need to play for a while. Like you're gonna have to dig into it,
right?
To really unlock everything. Because I did like 20 runs and barely unlocked everything for the first character, right? So I know it's depth there, but I just need some time to play it. And then the last one, goodness, Unsighted. Oh my God.
Yes.
That game is amazing.
Yes, it is.
That game, from story to, I'm in my first dungeon in that game. And that I got a power up that I'm not going to spoil for anybody. But when I got the power up, I was like, oh, this completely changes the game. Like this absolutely changes the way I've looked at every level so far. And it's just one item. The depth in this game is impressive. And it's a bunch of brown folks that they center around the story.
Yes.
You know? And it's queer, like, I don't know how to phrase that, but It seems like they may be queer. I'm not sure. You know, like we haven't got that far in the story yet. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. You know, I always try and.
They appear to be queer coded.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry. I don't have the terminology.
Oh no, it's all good.
So
Here to help. What I do.
I'm old. I'm an old black man trying to figure this out. But yeah, man, I loved every bit of it. Aaron, have you played any of it? I know we said you played a little bit of it.
I played about 3 or 4 hours of it, and it's one of those games where I actually wanted to start over because it was 3 and 4 disjointed hours, an hour here, a week gone by, an hour there, a week gone by. And I realized what they were doing, and it's not a very long game, but in terms of how dense it is and the amount of effort put into it and the value of it, it made me want to run it back. But I think it's the best exploration. Funny story is I remember I used the term Metroidvania around Bacon when we first started speaking, and Bacon was like, "What the fuck is that word?"
Oh,
And I said Metroidvania, a combination of Metroid and Castlevania Symphony of the Night, exploration genre. And I was like, I don't like the word. And Bacon was like, I've never heard that shit. I don't like that shit. That shit doesn't make any fucking sense. And the two of us came together, and I started using the term 2D exploration. Because I actually do not like the word Metroidvania because it gets used too often. It is a general black hole of a descriptor of a genre that means too many games.
Also, that was the conversation word for word.
Right. You jammed me up so hard on something that I realized I was saying out of reflexes. Other people were saying it, and I was like, yeah, I ain't gotta say that shit. You exploring in that shit. It's an exploration fucking game. God damn it.
It is. I like Metroidvania because those are my two favorite games.
And like some of the games they're describing don't match either game.
Absolutely. You are 100% correct, and it infuriates me every time.
Right. It's kind of like the way the survival, it's kind of like if we called something a Resident Evil Light, but there are so few games that are actually truly survival horror, and there are actually far less games that are like Metroid and Castlevania, despite how much they want to be like Metroid and Castlevania.
Listen, just because you got a map that you fill in and you got secret walls does not make it a Metroidvania.
Designing an explorable 2D space is a skill. And it's not necessarily executed particularly well as often as we want to attribute the title. And also, like I said, we can just call it exploration. Once people say Metroidvania, funny enough, it raises expectations when something could just be a solid genre piece. And there's nothing wrong with saying it, by the way. But it's just that I recalled the conversation that made me stop using the term automatically because it's not a term I particularly like.
Mm-hmm.
I have a minor issue with using a game's name as a genre, because then we kind of just roll that wallpaper over all like several games and their unique accomplishments in doing so. When you call it a genre, you tend not to, but when you call a genre a game title, kind of like how we call brown carbonated liquid Coke. It's all Coke. That's not good. There's probably some dope ass fucking Northwestern Captain McGillicuddy pop somewhere in this country, and somebody's calling it Coke and pushing that off the side of a table like a cat. That's what I mean. So, anywho, all that to say is, I think Unsighted squared up for the 4 hours I played. It seemed like it was the best 2D exploration game I was going to play all year. And after I'm done obsessing over Far Cry, which I'll talk about later, I will give it the time it deserves.
Put it this way. To me, those type of games challenge you mentally, right? It's always that thing of like, can I do this? I wonder. And then they let you do it, right? Like, for instance, with Unsighted, do you know you don't have to go find the code in order to get out of there and get that sword?
Nope.
I definitely didn't realize that until the second time when I just put the code in and randomly got an axe instead of my sword.
Yep.
Dude was like, yeah, well, you don't have a sword, so...
I was wondering about that when I was playing it, because of that. Because it seemed like I could leave
Yeah, you could.
and I
You
could have
just-
left by accident. And so I was wondering in the beginning, Bacon, you get chased out of the facility you kind of pop up in, and you can go get your sword and then leave, or you can just leave. And because you're under siege, you might actually make a aggressive move and just leave. In which case, someone hands you, like Bap said, an axe just straight out of the emergency, just shattered in case of emergency. And was like, here you go, nigga.
Delightful.
Here you go, nigga.
That's my favorite.
also has the best parry. Like the accessibility options in that game are great too, and it has the most amazing parry window. It's got to be like 2 seconds. It's ridiculous.
It's very
Oh, that's
nice.
delightful.
Mhm.
I hate parry windows. Like they make me so angry. They're so easy to miss, and I'm like, why?
I love
They
it
gotta
when
try to one-sided.
I love it when they super telegraph parries in video games. By the way,
So good.
I really do think it's a skill. Like I said before, it's one of those things. It's an argument because some people will argue that you shouldn't be able to tell, like you should be able to like read the animations, but that's what like a whole harder difficulty is for. That's what the difficulty is for. The original standard parry should be a telegraph signpost. The guy goes, "I'm gonna get you," and he has a glint in the sword, and then you press your parry button. If you
His
want.
arm goes red.
Right. If you do not want that, then you can put that on hard mode where they remove all of the tells from the screen. And then you can go ahead and be the best gamer and go on Reddit and tell everybody how big your dick is. Absolutely. So,
Yeah, I also think that like that's also like the best way to learn.
I've always thought so. I thought
Yeah.
it was a natural progression to hard mode,
Yeah.
being
that's-
able to just get
true.
the timing down visually, personally. But again, there are a lot of folks who just kind of put games on hard mode to start playing their game. I'm not
Which
one
is-
of those people.
Depends on the game and the genre, and I'll do it.
Oh, what games do you put on hard immediately?
I don't put side scrollers on hard
Good God,
generally.
no. Good God, no.
I think we
'Cause-
all got trauma from side scrollers.
because
Mm-mm.
I like myself.
Mm-mm.
But like Mass Effect, I
Okay.
played that shit on hard mode. Dragon Age at this point, like the Dragon Age games, I would totally play on the hardest difficulty at this point.
That's fair.
Like Inquisition, I know exactly how to do it on the hardest difficulty because that one is more about doing things in the right order.
Right.
Then like a part of it is knowing the game enough to do things in the correct difficulty order so you're not overtaken by the really really hard shit, because there's like in Dragon Age Inquisition, there's like in like the hinterlands, which is like kind of the your starting-ish area, there is absolutely a what the fuck are they called, like those portal things. There's one that you are not meant to do at all until much later.
Bacon, I spent so much time in the hinterlands on accident. I'd had no idea you were supposed to get out the hinterlands.
Nigga, nobody did because
My
it was the first time that most people had encountered a game where you can leave and come back.
Also, having played Dragon Age in reverse, I can see where going from Dragon Age 2 to Dragon Age Inquisition, you just spend all your time running around, because Dragon Age was very urban. It was, you had your 10 blocks and then that was it for a minute, and you could explore those 10 blocks pretty good. So you were inspired to explore the 10 blocks, and Inquisition gave you a straight up town. And I can see it, having played it backwards. I can see where people who played Dragon Age 2 were just in the hinterlands infinitely, until you met the dragon who told you to leave.
I spent
Or
like
that
2
one
hours-
portal, because the portal is literally by like an early quest. It's the one by the waterfalls.
Huh.
Is that,
There's an escort quest that literally goes right past it.
Is that
That's
the-
the ass portal.
is
That's
that the one by the woman's house? the woman's house? We had at the end. We had to like find her husband or something.
No, but that's one of the harder ones. No, so you know that like farm area off to the
Mhm.
side.
Yeah, I remember that part.
You had to escort one of the animals back to the farm.
Maybe that's what I was thinking about. I remember doing an escort mission, but I
There's
don't.
like 2 escort missions in there. The other one's an elk that you talk to, which is really funny. No, the other one there's an animal that you help escort back to the farm, and that quest would get glitched. But there's also a quest area even further up where you have to like fight a bunch of wolves. There's a wolves den further up too. And it's all walks past like this little waterfall enclave, and then there's this portal in
Wait,
that enclave
yeah,
that
was that what
has
talking about?
the hardest ones, but it's like right in the middle of these beginning level quests. So if you're not careful and you go off to the side, you get your shit rocked.
Yeah, that makes sense. That game, I would love to play that game multiplayer. I just don't have the patience to play it single player. Like I would love to get a group of people together because that's the game you can play multiplayer, right?
It's a different mode.
Okay.
It's got a strike mode like Mass Effect.
Oh, okay. I didn't think about it. I don't
Right.
want
It's
to play that. I
right.
would love to play the campaign multiplayer though.
Yeah, that campaign is a Lord of the Rings flyby journey of so many areas. The funny thing about Dragon Age Inquisition, I realized this. I was talking about this with Erica. Is it's one of the few games where it's that big, but it establishes the journey, and also it kind of gives you value for running. Like there's so much lore all over the place that you run all over the place, but it makes it impossible to knock out Inquisition like you could Dragon Age 2 or Dragon Age Origin. Like
It's because it's a fucking open world game with
it-
multiple maps.
it's a massive,
It's so fucking.
but it's so much happiness, so much value in wandering. Even if you spend 10 seconds running and then you get some juicy lore, you just blow some dust off of some statue when you read the inscription and you go, oh.
And I'm not gonna lie, I think that was really clever what they did, because they're like, we're gonna make an open world game that's like really tight knit. It's close. So instead of having like a full entire open world, like a full sandbox, we're gonna give you 6 small sandboxes that are still really huge, but you can leave.
They
You
gave
get a break. You get to go in a different sandbox.
like big old set pieces. Like here,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you this wooded area, or I'm gonna give you the Sky Palace or whatever, and you're gonna stay here for like I don't know 20 hours, maybe 10 if you want. You know, like it gave so much freedom. You're right. I loved it.
Yeah, and it also gave you a break. And then you could like go inside of your hub city, or you could go visit a different hub city. Like you had breaks, which is what I think a lot of open world should have.
I had
Um,
other issues with that game. It wasn't that. It wasn't.
Bugginess, because that's an issue. There's definitely some bugs that happened, but they did do a good job of cleaning them up. I would really like I still do want like I do want them to release a remastered trilogy like they did with Mass Effect, because I can guarantee it'd be like 50 times better.
I mean, they took a step. They put all 3 of the game, Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age 2, and Inquisition are all on backwards compatible, and they all got a FPS boost on Series X, which is actually pretty good.
Right, but a remaster would be
Like
a
touch up the
remaster with Origins combat system fixed, which it really needs.
It really would like to be. Listen, man. I take what I can. Listen, I understand what you're saying. I'm saying is that we are getting our baby steps, and frankly, I just would like my new Dragon Age, like Mass Effect gave us. They fixed Mass Effect after Mass Effect was done. Right? Great. They're not done with Dragon Age. We're all just waiting.
They're not done with Mass Effect.
They're trying to get it on. They're trying to get it back on the horse. I don't think they're done, but they're done with the thing that I'm interested in. They're not continuing Andromeda's story, as far as I can tell. So
I don't know.
We don't know anything.
we don't know
They still
anything.
haven't said
Right.
anything.
From all intents and purposes, they seem to have abandoned it. So I cannot expect them to continue the story. They seem to have abandoned it in the middle of it. If they do return to it, it will be a WrestleMania surprise. Whose music is that? The second part of fucking Andromeda's music. Here it comes down. It'd be fucking epic. I'm not saying I would not accept it, but from all the looks of it, we are not to expect. We don't know. But it did seem like they got caught cooking meth in Andromeda and left. I'm just saying, we got whatever is in there. They left. Whatever is in there.
I'm just literally all I'm saying is we don't know.
We don't know, but I'm just
we have no idea what they're doing.
All I can do is go by their behavior at the end of the game they just finished. The game they finished. I would like to see more Andromeda. They abandoned, like I said, the cops caught wind of what they were doing. They were doing the coke subs for the people thing themselves. Cops caught wind of it, and they abandoned Andromeda.
Building materials not illegal.
They abandoned.
I wish y'all could see Aaron's face when I said that what he did, because he was so disgusted.
I learned. I rectified. I adjusted, and I reacted to new information because I'm a fucking adult. But yes, Andromeda seems to have been abandoned in a hurry. For whatever reason, whatever comes of it, it was abandoned in a hurry. So I am me myself. I am now trained. I am now going to assume that they will not return there. If they do, huzzah.
I'm not assuming they're returning to it. I just said we don't know what they're doing.
I'm just saying. So
that's all. Like I literally have no hope.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But Dragon Age they're still like telling us the story of like, they're still telling us, they still have more to tell us from Inquisition. So that's what I'm here for. Like, I don't even care. Like, we're still going forward. I want more. They're like, we're going to give you more. I'm like, cool, win. And they're like, I got to take this call. So while we wait for them to get off the phone and get back to us.
You know what they on the phone with?
Who they on the phone with?
BioWare Austin. Like, hey, you know what we can't do? Fuck up again.
Right. It's fine.
Oh my God, I miss Anthem. God, I miss Anthem.
It's okay because we have new writers because BioWare lost all their
They lost all their writers.
All the senior, but okay, to be fair, all the senior writers were responsible for the wildly problematic shit.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. It's just
and they're gone. So this is not bad.
Oh yeah, no, it's not bad at all. No, I think BioWare can only benefit from everything that's happening here. Like even like the changing of the guard, everything, even all the negative public attention. It can only stand to benefit.
The only concern I have is that they're going to go backwards instead of moving forward.
Backwards, how so?
Backwards, socially in how their content is written.
I can see that. The doctors on, aren't they?
They made a lot of progress with the games. Like, I mean, you've played Origin. We all played the Racism Simulator. And y'all watch me play the Racism Simulator. Well, sorry, excuse me, not just racism, the Ism Simulator, known as the Mass Effect trilogy. And then Aaron, I know you have re-gone through all of them, all of the Dragon Age series. So
yeah,
like
I played backwards. Yeah, I was playing it backwards. Yeah.
So we've really come far from you're a woman. Can't believe you're a woman. Check you out being a woman doing stuff like women don't usually do.
Bro, there are so many times I was playing with Morrigan, and the times you got your tits out there, and she's like, oh God.
Can somebody tell Kaden to calm the fuck down? Can somebody tell Kaden to chill?
Right.
They turned him down so many times.
Right. And it's just like, all right, I understand. Listen, she's aerodynamic. It's 2021, but it was a different time. And it really was a different time. Like, my God, were the times different?
So different.
I mean, I couldn't even make a black person. I don't think you can make a black person in Dragon Age 1.
You really can't make a black person in any of them, but sure.
You can make a black person in Inquisition.
Yeah, to be fair, you can.
You can make a black person in Dragon Age 2, my character was South Asian, and in Dragon Age Origins, my character is Dominican. So, yes.
Yeah,
understood.
I'm pretty sure my character in all the Dragon Ages was some form of Latinx.
I just modeled myself to be like Bull. I just wanted to be Bull.
I can't unsee. I've gone over this several times, but like I have a huge issue with the visual portrayal of the Canary.
Oh, why so?
Because they look like are treated like literal demons, and they look like how the in the Crusades they described the Muslims.
Oh, Bacon,
Can't unsee it, can you?
come on.
I remember
Can't
this
unsee it.
conversation. I had this conversation with Bacon. I remember. I couldn't unsee it. It's good though. It's good to see it. It's good to see it. Sorry, bro.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
like, and like I will forever, like that will not leave my vision.
Oh my God,
You got
that
it.
sucks.
Yep.
Yeah, go read how they described Muslims during the Crusades.
No, thank you. I'm pretty sure I understand.
Yeah, no, it's pretty on par with with European religious
Yeah, that
everything.
it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yep. So like I take like it's one of those things where like I see what you're doing, but then they're like but then when you also look at like how they treat their mages, they're like, yeah, we sew their mouths shut and we tie them up, and I'm like, this is not great.
Whole lot of trash going on.
I'm like, and again, Inquisition's the better game.
I really got deep in Inquisition, surprisingly.
And
Like,
y'all know how I love Inquisition.
I know you love it.
I fucking love Dragon Age, but I'm just like, can't unsee it. It was the first thing I noticed, and I'm like, oh, I don't like this change.
Oh, that sucks.
It's a bad change.
But I do like the Canary a lot. But I wasn't gonna be a Canary because I was like, no, don't like this. I did like that they had 2 voice actors though,
Mm.
in case they're like, yeah, the other voice actor, like the voice just doesn't fit with like dwarves and Canary women. Like it's just just doesn't match.
Who picked to be the archer? That's all I in those games. Is that who does that? Is that like because you can main
I was almost the archer in Inquisition until a very unique problem that I had as an audio engineer was the sound of the bow firing is the exact same sound every time.
oh no.
Fun, 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 fun,
Oh, you found it.
fun. And then I was like, oh, so the bow sounds like this every time I press the attack button for as long as I press the attack button, every time I press the attack button. And I said, this is an unacceptable weapon choice because I'm not going to spend 150 hours not doing that. So I wanted to, I like archer classes. I like archer rogues in a lot of games, but that I couldn't. That is, it's kind of like how the original Tomb Raider had the same 2 steps sounds forever on all surfaces. You don't realize these things until you get caught out there and you're like, oh, why do I want to smash my television? This is a weird feeling. What's wrong? It's like, oh, right. I've heard the same sound 30,000 times in succession.
It's actually what I like about Final Fantasy is every surface has a different sound.
Yes.
Really that's so good.
It's why I didn't like that about Final Fantasy. The one I despise, the one with the first one with lightning, was that you actually have the same footsteps, and it's just the same footsteps at the same volume, no matter how close or how far away you are from the camera, no matter what surface you're on. But again, these are audio engineer problems. Please don't pay me any mind. If it doesn't bother you, then God bless you and your infinite patience. Bless you.
Let me see. I did Rogue and I did Rogue Blades and Rogue Archer on
I can see that for you.
Origin specifically because you have to either be a tanky character. You have to either be a sword, like you have to be a stabby character, or you have to be the other stabby character. You can't be a mage. And I was like, I have to marry Alistair. To marry Alistair, I need to be a noble.
Also, in Origins, the bow in Origins, the bow sounds different. It was only in Inquisition where the bow has the same monotonous univolume noise. Anyway, please continue. So yes, it's perfectly fine.
And in both Inquisition and Dragon Age 2, I wanted to do the story as a mage because I wanted to be the Templar mage, but not Chantry Templar mage.
Story takes everything. Ain't that right?
And so, like, one of the things is like, oh, I would have gone mage, but it's like anti-Templar. I would have gone with this character because of, you know, how the story is. And I'm like, actually, if you do it as a mage, it's pretty interesting. You get some really neat dialogue choices. And I will never, ever, ever side with blood magic. Ever.
No, we don't do blood magic.
Yeah,
We're not
No.
doing blood magic.
Like that's one of those things where, like, you know, I understand like people have their opinions, but I'm like, okay, I want you to stop and think about specifically the lore in the game and how things actually work out and how magic actually is and what blood magic, like real blood magic, not like, oh, I'm doing like how Dorian does necromancy, like whatever. He's literally, or like even Wynn, how she does spirit magic. Like the Chantry would call that blood magic. That's not actually blood magic. What Meryl's doing is fucking blood magic.
Yes.
Right. And I'm just like, Meryl, you're literally talking. You are literally talking with demons.
Yeah.
What Solus is doing is like bordering. He's like,
I want to punch Solus in the face every time I see him.
I don't. He's however, he's really racist against dwarves.
Fair. I mean, he looked like he racist against everybody.
No, he's not racist against everybody. He is racist like against dwarves.
It's just a face thing. Like he was never in my party a lot, but it was just like
You never finished the game. That's why.
Oh, okay.
Once you finish the game, your opinion on Solus, either he has crushed your loving heart and you dislike him forever, or you're like me and you're just like, oh, can I join you? And then, you know, I mean, I is it okay to discuss the end of Dragon Age Inquisition? Is it
It's fine.
time?
Yeah, I mean,
We're past. Yeah, we're fine.
We're past the it is revealed what is his name? It's revealed Solas is actually the what wolf?
The Dreadwolf.
The Dreadwolf?
Yeah,
Wait a minute.
he's Dreadwolf, and he finally realizes it himself, and then he goes off to essentially roll back time to a time when the elves had their powers, and that's gonna probably overwrite our time and eradicate those who aren't involved. So,
He's basically trying to do what he's doing very similarly to what the Ascians are doing.
He's doing exactly what the Ascians are doing.
yes,
He's doing a rejoining.
Yeah, it's really close.
He's just taking over. It was only one world before.
It's really close. Where it's like, let's combine, like, you know, our world was split into 13. We lost everybody we loved. So now we're going to bring it all back together, despite the fact that there's now 13 worlds full of, well, one of them, no, 13 worlds entirely populated with various souls and people. But we're just going to smash them all together.
Dragons.
That's genocide, but he doesn't consider it genocide, which it's the same thing for Solus. He's like, I'm not murdering all these people. I'm just rewinding back time. And I'm like,
and as a black person, I get it. I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
But I get it. I'm just like,
oh yeah, no, exactly. That's why I don't hate.
That's why I don't hate Solus. I'm like,
yeah, I don't dislike him.
I'm gonna have to stop you, but I see what you're thinking, and I don't disagree with you nearly enough as I should, honestly. So if they ask me, like when the press asks me how I feel about it, I'm just gonna have to equivocate and end the interview because it's objectively.
I'd be like, we aren't gonna let this happen, and that's it. I'm just gonna I'm not gonna have any what's your personal opinion on him as a person? We're just not gonna let this happen.
Right.
Like there's gonna be like no conversation about it. But he is extremely, without good reason, wildly racist against dwarves. wildly. He says, play it like pick up a dwarf character, play as a dwarf, and talk to him.
Shit.
I'm dead serious. I did my first playthrough as a dwarf because I didn't realize that Cullen is very, very race specific. And I went through most of the game as a dwarf.
You know what? I like Cullen. Cullen was always in my party. Like,
Oh
I
yeah. Cullen wasn't party. He was advisor, but
okay.
he was definitely my romance choice. But I had also been trying to tap that since Origins.
How do I know Cullen before that?
He is in all the games.
Okay, yes. Origins. I played.
So in Origins, Cullen he also shows up in Awakening. So in Origins, Cullen has like a great like growth story and redemption arc. But Cullen shows up in the mage storyline as a Templar who's actually like, if you play a female mage, she's actually like the one that like y'all have like a crush on each other. It's super cute. But then shit happens and you leave, have to become a warden, etc. He's also the one with the mage tower when it's overrun with abominations. He's the one he's one of the Templars who's being held captive and tortured. And you have to rescue him.
No.
So like he specifically hates mages because he was tortured by abominations and demons and they tried to break him and take him over.
Yes.
So like that's one of those things where I'm just like, I get it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm like, I understand. I get it. I don't agree, but I get it. Like that's not a trauma you can process. Also, you're a video game character, so you extra can't process your trauma. Writers do better. And then in Dragon Age 2, he basically, after that whole thing, the Templars basically just like, we need to just send Cullen away. So they send him away to Kirkwall, and he's there under, Meredith, who is losing her mind. But depending on how you take things like conversationally and the decisions you make, Cullen actually like will totally go against Meredith in the end. Like if you take the Templar route too, like he is next to you fighting. Like he's like, no, we can't do this with Meredith. No. He's like, she's wrong. Like
I wish I absorbed story like you do. Like, cause I actually read like especially since Endwalker, like since Final Fantasy, right around Stormblood, right? I've really like tried to really immerse myself in stories. I just cannot remember things like you do. It is amazing.
To be fair, I put an obscene amount of hours into that game.
Right. It's kind of what we were talking about by Bacon plays games in the exact opposite manner with which you play games.
Yeah, that is
So
I'm always amazed when I hear like, oh yeah, you got all this story. Like, oh yeah, like I know Meredith's name. I knew Cullen's name. I couldn't remember why I knew them, right? Like, but you got the whole details. Like,
yeah, I did like 4 to 5 playthroughs and all the way through, and that's a 90-hour game.
Yeah. This way, a game is really, really, really got to catch me to get me. That's how I know if a game has got an amazing story, because it's got to catch me. And if it catches me in a way like Endwalker, like Final Fantasy, A Realm Reborn was a slog. They told me it was going to be a slog. I didn't believe them. I'm like, I'm just going to eat this for dinner. Yeah.
No, it's really the patch content.
It's the patch content that was awful. The end of Realm Reborn was great. I was like, oh my God, this is great. And then we had like 2 years worth of patches. It was so many patches. But once we got to Stormblood, I was with you, Bacon. Like that's the only story I can pretty much do like you just did, where you can recite it. And I just gotta say thank you, because you
You're welcome. This is my goal, is to make people is to help people find heavy narrative RPGs.
Endwalker has been one of the best stories I've played top to bottom. Like, just for the continuity, the things that they're like, the littlest things and details that they're catching. And Yoshi P even said in an interview recently, he's like, they don't even know what levels we'll go to. I'm like, oh God. How
Yeah,
deep
we're
is
starting a whole new story arc. So I'm actually excited. I'm like, oh, we're gonna have Dissidia levels. Thank you, God.
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna have tactics levels. Like, bring it. I don't want 99. I want to go further. Let's go.
Anima.
Yeah.
Anima. I'm sorry. As a FF like semi nerd, and I saw that, I marked out. I was like, I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it.
It was so hype. It's so good. But yeah, so like, if you, so you can also play that game in a way to where like Cullen stays an asshole. Like, he doesn't really like, you know, learn from stuff. But like, then you hit Inquisition and he's like one of your advisors, and he doesn't hate mages in Inquisition. He's like, yeah, I was super prejudiced and I wasn't right. And I'm like, growth. Growth. What they call that? Growth. But again, like, I also never felt like he had an unrealistic reason for it. Same with Fenris. Like, Fenris came out of Tevinter. He was a literal slave to a mage. Mages have power there, and like unprecedented power. They summon demons. They do really fucked up shit, and it's like part of the social hierarchy to do so. Even Dorian talks about that. So it's like, it's not wrong, but you can't just be treating everybody the same way. So I thought that was like a kind of neat, complicated thing, but it's just like, no, blood magic is fucked up. Absolutely the fuck not. But I also understand I also like heavily empathize in Dragon Age Inquisition, the really tough choice that the leader of the mages had, because he's like, we have nothing. He's like, I'm gonna die anyway. He's like, Meredith is going to kill us, so blood magic. So like I don't even hold it against the lead.
Right.
I don't even hold it against him. I actually feel really bad. It's a really tragic thing that happened. And I was just like, I'm really sorry. But the thing is if you go the mage route, still happens. And I'm just like, no. And like there's a point where you choose the mages and the Templars. I've played through both of those. Can't agree with the mages at all in that one, because they're like, we're gonna resort to blood magic, not even for survival, but we're gonna, join Tevinter and go like rely on blood magic. Everything's like, this is what we're doing now. And I'm like, no. And you convinced your own people to become slaves to Tevinters. The fuck are you doing? The fuck are you doing? No, no, none of those decisions. I'm like, absolutely not.
I like to shoot fireballs with the cane.
I like using force magic. I also really like the there's I did this in Dragon Age 2 and Dragon Age 1, where you basically are a Spellblade warrior.
Yes.
So I'm just like, I'm a melee DPS now. Fuck you gonna do about it? Check me out. I'm a sword. I have a sword. I am a mage. Eat fire. Now a lightning in your eye. It's great. Yeah, even my mages are DPSs. Just let me be melee.
Of course.
What was the name of that class in Inquisition? It was the broken mage class with the sword. and the barrier that allowed you to tank the dragons for some reason.
I don't remember what it's called, but that's what I played.
Right.
But to be
yes.
honest, almost all of them were broken, to be honest.
I mean, I don't know. The two most broken ones I had seen were apparently like officially were the assassin rogue and the super melee mage. So I had Vivian was the super melee mage and I was the assassin rogue, and we were making very short work of all the dragons of their age and the bosses and everything. A lot of damage going on. What?
I also feel like, can't remember. I want to say like the dual blade. Sorry, no, the two-handed tank class was really intense.
Yes. Let me see. I'm actually gonna look up the class names now. Here I go.
Didn't one of the classes have a hammer? Am I not?
The Knight Enchanter is what it was called.
The Knight Enchanter. The Knight Enchanter was strong as fuck.
Yeah, that was the broken mage class specialization. The rogue had the assassin. The warrior had the I believe it was the Templar.
Whatever you could give Cassandra that was like, I nullify your magic and I cast magic, bitch, stop me.
Yeah.
That had literal dispel. Dispel was great.
Yeah, that was Templar, yeah.
Templar was so good.
Yes.
Didn't Templar like do some speed stuff too? Like, didn't it like speed you up? I remember that because it was ridiculous.
Armor buffs. Yes, armor buffs. Haste. Yes.
I remember that because I was like, I'm running too. This is ridiculous how fast I'm running right now.
But yeah, that's Dragon Age.
This all started on what games do you play on hard mode?
Well, you said you play Dragon Age on hard mode, and
I play Dragon Age on hard mode.
The question, is legit. What do you play on hard mode? If you'd like to also play Dragon Age Inquisition, they're all 3 Dragon Age games are. At least if you're on Xbox, they're available via backwards compatibility. They got the during the 20th anniversary celebration, Microsoft dropped several things. One being a frame rate boost for the other 2 Dragon Age games. So now all 3 Dragon Age games are available via backwards compatibility and at 60 frames a second. So if you want to put Dragon Age Inquisition on hard mode, or just know what the fuck Bacon is talking about, now's the time. It's also Black Friday. Sales are happening. Everything is happening right now.
You might look hard enough. It might be on Game Pass. Who fucking knows? It might actually be somewhere.
Oh, Dragon Age is on the Game Pass because of EA Play, actually. So all three of those games are on EA Play, except for Game Pass. And there you go. You can do the thing. Find out what Bacon's talking about. Find out what we're talking about. Experience Dragon Age. And yes, it actually started from a conversation about what games are we playing. And then it became a conversation about what games do you automatically put on hard mode. And then it became a conversation about the Xbox 20th anniversary celebration, and which we will just suggest that Microsoft is wilding. They released Halo multiplayer for free, which just seems to be free.
Jumped off the top rope. He pointed at the crowd first, though. On both sides.
Oh, he did. Pointing at the crowd. He did. He
said, guess what, guys? I'm going to start with a 20-year anniversary video that's going to be 6 parts explaining the history of Xbox. And you're going to get inside scoops, all that. And you hear the crowd, yeah. And you see Sarah, his right-hand man or right-hand woman on the side, like, yeah. There you go, Phil. And he says, and we're also going to drop Halo multiplayer today.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was wild.
They also put about 76 games on backwards compatibility. A lot of old classics. I didn't realize how long I had been playing Xbox until I had seen some of the list of games. And I was like, I specifically said, I was in the car with Erica and I said, I can get Gun Valkyrie now. And that aged me. Like, I realized that I had been, in fact, playing Xbox for 20 years.
Yes.
Because I was like, oh, I can play Gun Valkyrie. I can play Xbox games so old that even though the controller had a right analog stick, none of the games used them. So please understand, there are games like, I don't know if you guys remember Otogi. It was from Software
Oh,
before From Software.
FromSoft, one of the
It-
best games.
It was from some
Xbox.
Software before From Software became From Software. So yes.
I have that. I have that somewhere. I don't know where the fuck it is.
Well,
I have that game.
mhm.
I know I do.
Otogi 1, Otogi 2, Gun Valkyrie, all of these games, please understand, they are 20 years old. They play like absolute ass. They have
Yes.
none of the gun. I ran home. I got Gun Valkyrie. I spent $10 US. I was like, cool, Gun Valkyrie, perfect. I enjoyed this game. And I found out that you do not use the right analog stick to turn. You use the left analog stick to turn and the right analog stick to aim your reticle on your screen, but you don't actually pivot. So you can't change the direction 90 degrees or anything. You just aim the reticle up and down your screen while moving with the left analog stick, pivoting with the left analog stick. Please understand. That doesn't work. I appreciate also the fact that like I've been playing games for so long that I've been playing games that I can no longer play. I remember them fondly, and I can never pick up a controller and play them. I've even tried Otogi. I'm scared. I played Gun Valkyrie, and I was like, I wasted $10.
Don't
What?
Don't.
Like-
I'm only doing it because I would only do it because I would find my disc. Like,
You already own it, right?
yeah.
You already own it. That's fair.
I'm looking at the rest of this article.
Mm-hmm.
Phil Spencer and them snuck in some extra stuff that
Like-
I did not see until today, like right now.
Oh, like what?
You mean out of the we're not doing the we're no longer supporting the what backwards compatibility and frame rate FPS program because we've already uploaded all the games.
Yep. We ain't got no more until we got some more.
Yeah, they
Right.
literally they just dropped 17 games and went, we're done. We're not supporting this anymore. And I'm like, what? And they're like, we're supporting these games. We're not adding anymore. And I'm like, oh, you mean because that's all of them?
Yes. We've got like now to be like quite literally. I believe every game that I do not have from Xbox One or Xbox 360 are games that have licensing issues. Sports
Yeah.
games, things like The Bigs, my favorite baseball game of all time, will never move because it can't move. Things like
Crazy
that.
soundtracks.
Right. Right. So it's like certain games, like for a vast majority of Xbox games that I've played, I have on my Xbox Series X on a hard drive.
They just made binary domain 60 frames per second.
Right.
I'm going to play that tonight. Are
Right.
you serious?
Right. You see what I mean? And it's just kind of like that type of thing. They're just
Wow.
right. So
Game Pass, everybody.
a Game Pass in general, but even just and I realize, like I said, I'm an old backlog game collector.
Yeah.
And
Me too.
I realize that if you are that type of gamer, then it's one console offering a very distinct advantage over the other. But if you're not, it's not. And I've learned to respect that more and more. I find the more I read about, Sony's value system is confusing, but I kind of appreciate it. Like
They stick to it.
The only thing that I don't understand is the refusal to support games that came out at the end of PS4.
yes. I agree with that. Like you're saying, it's understandable if you don't want to bring back Jumping Flash 1 and 2, but why not a game that came out in the last, literally came out on PlayStation 4 in June of this year, right?
Right. And I'm like, that's not cool.
Right. It's very odd, and it's a shame.
Do I understand we're not going to support a game that came out 4 years ago? Absolutely.
Fine. Yes.
You know what? Fine. That's okay. I don't even really feel a way about the Final Fantasy 7 Intergrade being PS5 only.
Even though that's kind of, I mean.
Oh no. I agree.
Yeah.
It's messed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I get it because it's new.
Also, that's kind of all they gotta say exclusives. If we're being, now, and I'm not saying it in a bad way, they hold their hats on those, and I mean, you're not gonna get those big budget things anywhere else as of right now.
People just can't get their hands on a PS5.
That's the thing, right? Though, right? Like, but they didn't plan on that. Like, that's the thing. I think if we would have had more of a supply,
Right, but it's been over a year, and like that, the thing with the supply issue that gets me is there was a supply shortage before COVID.
Right.
real yet.
But yeah, this isn't new. This started like, when did it start? When did it really start? It was starting, but because it started before the Trump administration did a trade war,
Right.
and then it's just been an increased escalation down, while spending hasn't decreased. It's actually gone up. So, like, everything's been exacerbating it. Generally, like, you know, when there's like a supply shortage, like there's ways that local governments and like companies are able to make up for it, and there's things you can do. Then Trump started a fucking trade war,
Yes.
which screwed up. Like, people don't realize how bad production was screwed up with that. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
like it was bad. Like, you know, there were articles about you know, trading cards like Magic the Gathering cards and whatnot all being both delayed and increased in price because there's a fucking paper shortage, because one, paper mills were also closing down, but you need steel, and like you couldn't get steel for the parts at the printers or at the paper mills, and so they just didn't have things. So the entire price of paper and paper-based products skyrocketed. That like went, like, that's just one industry. It hit like all of the industries because it's fucking steel. So now,
Go ahead, Becky.
so now COVID hits, right? So you have places like that are entirely shut down. So all those places that we outsource large amounts of manufacturing to, all those countries out in like various parts of Asia, they weren't operating. Like some countries, their government said you don't leave your house. Full lockdown. And they didn't have people in the places to do the manufacturing. So they didn't have people there. You couldn't send people there. You couldn't operate with places. Then we had that fucking boat.
And that
That
boat,
was scary, wasn't it?
boat jammed up in the Suez Canal. Yes.
Oh my God,
that will never not be funny.
that's one of those. How the fuck? Like, I'm not even mad. How did you do this?
I think it was like, what was it, like a current just like,
No, he tried to turn around in the canal.
oh, you trying to turn around?
Dumbass. Oh God.
Oh God, I feel so bad for him, and at the same time, I'm like,
I've put a car in reverse, backing up into a ditch before, and I imagined, like, I've only done it once, and it was the most wobbly time I was driving, and it only took about 4 seconds before I put that car in a ditch. I imagine that's what happened. Is he had 4 bad seconds, and then he was like, "Oh shit," and then he was like, "Oh shit" for 6 months. But yes, please continue, Bacon.
And so again, like the factories and like where production is happening still ain't moving. The boats aren't moving. There's like a 6-month pile up because of the boats. People are still spending money. You have scalpers for crypto mining taking up every piece of tech they can get their hands on. You have, what else was happening? Oh yeah, you have not enough trucks, too many boats. Boats can't get out of the harbors because there's just like shipping's still going, like people are still ordering, products are still moving. And then they just get stuck because there's nowhere for them to go because you don't have bodies to move them. I'm missing things. This is just off the top of my head. I'm missing shit.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
right? Like,
so there's a question is because what I've noticed is that in the wake of not having enough consoles, Microsoft has kind of leaned into its own backlog.
absolutely.
And indie games and games that don't require you to have a new console to play. It seems as though that course correction is not the thing Sony's worried about at all. And
It's like this.
They're moving forward with their plans, just not taking into account like the current situation, and it's weird to me.
Right, and it's creating a situation. It's creating a situation with like very predictable holes in production and game creation, and their lineup and what they can produce. It's very predictable. It's like, oh, you're probably not going to get enough PS5s to validate dedicating so much of your energy to only AAA plus releases for PS5, but go off, I guess.
So we also got to take into account
AAA releases are all delayed.
Right.
Because they don't have parts. And they're also working with COVID. And yes, we have vaccines, etc. But what people don't realize, there's a lot of outsourcing in gaming.
Yes. There are a lot of moving parts. That's why the games that come out on time are the games with the 6 motherfuckers in 6 different apartments.
Exactly.
In 2 states making the game. The bigger the bigger the project, the more moving parts from different places.
And guess what AAA games are?
Ooh, like that big barge that got stuck in the Suez Canal.
But also, I was gonna say earlier, we got to take into account, and again, I'm like Aaron. I didn't realize how long I had been playing Xbox until I realized I had been playing Xbox, right? Like I had the Xbox. And then that hit me like, oh God. Oh, it's been 20 years. What the fuck?
What, you don't remember Fable 1?
Excuse me? Of course I remember Fable.
I mean Fable 1 on the black brick.
Well, listen, it was one of the best games at the time because you had never seen nothing like that. Like you genuinely hadn't, but it was bad. Fable 2, I think is actually better. But anyway.
It is. That's what okay. I have some gripes with Fable. And it's not with Fable, it's with fans of Fable.
Well,
I'm like, do y'all not remember the games?
Yeah, for people, hindsight, right? Like
I'm like, every time a game came out, people were like, well, I don't like this, I don't like that. And I'm like, do you remember the previous game? Because it was not good.
I have a friend. Go ahead.
The previous Fable games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So like every time a new Fable game came out, it was hindsight's 2020. They'd be like, "Oh, this game is really bad." Like no Fable game is good outside of like the first Fable game.
I wonder if they would get that whole chicken chaser joke now.
Oh my god!
Right? How much problematic shit was in there?
It was so bad.
Like I don't know, but this is the thing. I was gonna say that Xbox has Phil Spencer. Sony doesn't. That is the biggest factor in this whole situation. Phil came from the bottom. He was a programmer and worked his way up. And genuinely, you can tell once Xbox, and at least unless he's like some evil supervillain, which could be totally possible as well. And hiding everything.
I ain't trusting the rich white dudes.
Right.
I mean, I don't trust rich white dudes at all, but at least this person actually likes his product.
We benefit from it in some ways. Whatever the fuck benefit he gets, whatever. But I say that without that guidance, Xbox doesn't know what it's doing. Like it was all messaging, right?
Well, for a while, it was actually trying to do the PlayStation thing. They were trying to make AAA plus multi-million-dollar first-party titles themselves for a while, and that didn't work. They had to abandon they had to pretty much strip down the entire Xbox game studios and rebuild it again years later.
They even said like
They used up way too much money doing it.
Absolutely.
It was so much money.
It
That's
got-
why 360 was like all exclusives
Yep.
because they had to pay them licensing.
Yep.
It was expensive.
now Phil got them out here to the point to where they just fucking bought Bethesda. Are you serious? We're just gonna go buy Bethesda right now. The company? Yeah, the whole company. I'm gonna just spend $1 billion.
I'm not gonna lie, like Game Pass kind of reminds me of Spotify in a way.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely gonna have some drop-offs of its.
Well, no, what I mean is so like early Spotify, not current Spotify.
Right.
When Spotify like dropped. So when Spotify dropped, like it was basically artists upload their music. Like willingly, like you had to willingly upload your stuff, right? And then you could get like a portion of money from like plays and shares and stuff.
Right.
And it was to the point where people were like, I'm not gonna do Spotify. I'm not gonna do Spotify. I'm not gonna do Spotify.
The deal looks too good. It looks too good. It looks fake.
They're all doing Spotify. And they don't have a choice. They're all getting ripped off by it. They're all completely getting ripped off by it, but it's like the way you get share music.
That's how it is with Game Pass. Like the shit looks fake. Like on my PC, there is a totally different set of games than that is on my cloud, which now goes 60 frames per second all of a sudden out of nowhere, and different from my actual Xbox. 3 different sets of games. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they set up a system that like
Talking about Coke.
I hate everything. I'm gonna feed my cat now.
Let's go feed the official cat of Unreasonable Fridays. But yeah, there is I remember Eurogamer put out a nice breakdown, specifically wondering how the financials work, and they were talking to devs, and they were like, yeah, we are actually quite compensated for this. Now, in 8 years, in 10 years, might Microsoft turn heel like Hulk Hogan? Possibly. Might they become Hollywood Game Pass? Abso-fucking-lutely. Might they break out the fucking the dyed black beard and the shades and the black bandana? Abso-fucking-lutely. Cannot trust corporations to not corporate. But at the moment, it's working out for everyone involved.
I just like the cast he put around him. Like if you go look at Double Fine and go look who was the art director, it's a black woman. If you go and look who's at second in command at Xbox Studios, is a black woman. It's like I've never seen Xbox put out as much diversity, not necessarily just with black people, but in general, accessibility wise, everything. It's almost like they're saying everything the right way, and that's scary, right? Like I don't want it to be that, like you got to show me a flaw too, like tell me you hate somebody or something. Like I don't believe this.
just be out there being like, can you just be caught in blackface, please?
Yeah, like Phil, just come on, give me something, man. Because it can't be this.
I mean,
right?
maybe,
I don't like this. I can't be
maybe,
indebted. I can't be indebted to a white man.
I like to think that they've learned from Disney, and they're trying to incorporate evil business practices based on super serving the audience and providing them with nothing but joy and representation, while taking huge unhealthy chunks of the market share while we pay them and clap while they do it.
And yell and scream. Why isn't more things owned by Disney?
I want to get my groceries on Game Pass. I think that's a sound idea.
I'm not gonna lie. If I had a choice of getting my groceries on Game Pass or Amazon, I'd go with Game Pass.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Like,
It wouldn't be a choice.
So
like, this is great.
what we might be looking at is a Disney style heel turn where they actually are just hyper serving, super serving their customers to such a degree that we just don't care.
Aaron, you can play Series X games on your Xbox One.
Yeah, they ain't even trying to sell you a console, dog.
They don't care.
Ain't
Here's
even
a
wor-
cloud
They're
TV.
just like, please own our product.
Yes.
I don't care which product.
Oh,
Are you on a PC? Use our product. It's a
Here's
PC.
the TV. Here's a TV. Here's a phone. Here's a tablet.
Right. It's like you can't get a console. That's crazy, dog. You got a phone though? That's crazy. Like that ship's still stuck in the I don't know. Listen, you gotta hand me your phone. Give me your phone. So yeah, it's yeah. For the record, while we are proponents of Game Pass here in general, because we're poor, we all also see the fact that we're not saying that it's an altruistic form of unifying
not at all.
communities.
Not at all.
No. We're saying is they're on the Disney tract of monopoly through pure joy, and
I'll
it's
take that.
definitely a possibility.
Dude, listen, Nintendo's picked up on it.
Right.
They got Nintendo in the act. They like, hey, come on, baby. Come on.
Right.
Over.
Listen, they've
With
already
Nintendo with their $20 a year subscription, and you can play all of the Super Nintendo games that have ever happened. Like,
right.
let me ride that nostalgia wave, nigga.
Right, and it's like it's very anime. It's just like we raised all these children. Behold our power, and then they unleash a Super Nintendo, and all of a sudden all these adults start following them up and down the street and jumping up and down, and they tell them to jump. So yes, it's why it's very odd to see Sony sticking to a weird position when super serving your customers to maximum evil is the way you achieve maximum evil.
I think they got architecture problems, man. Like if you go look at the PS5,
I think they do. Like when Microsoft back in the day, when they're like, with the Xbox One, they're like, listen, we are going to, before we work on we don't really care about exclusives, we're gonna build up our infrastructure, and bought I don't remember how many fucking servers did they add on? They added they tripled their servers. Sony didn't do that. It was very, very noticeable. Not saying that they should have, but it was extremely noticeable when you're trying to do multiplayer online. So yeah, Sony never increased their infrastructure. And Dynamite, I'm over here. Sorry, my cat gets really absorbed into eating and then forgets where I am.
that's fair.
And so all of a sudden she just starts meowing where are you, human? I'm literally right here. I understand this. It's a mood. But yeah, so Sony never really built up their infrastructure, and they're at a point right now where I don't think they can easily build up their infrastructure because of COVID.
Right. Yeah.
Squeenix is really desperately trying to help, Final Fantasy 14 get new servers and, increase server capacity and upgrade the hardware, and there's just no parts. There's no parts, so they can't even reach the places that they need to go to do it. They've even said they're we literally can't get people here. There's no way for us to get a person here. So I don't even think it's necessarily oh, we're just we just, everybody can go fuck themselves. I don't think they can.
Well, I mean, they still have the massive cultural market share. Default gaming is referred to as PlayStation, the way default carbonated black liquids are considered Coke. So, and
we're the weirdos, just to let
right, we're having a strange conversation that doesn't resonate with an unfortunate amount of gamers. Still,
I wouldn't say unfortunate. Maybe
here's the deal. I say unfortunate because frankly, we're all poor. So anytime you don't understand the concept of your own poverty as a consumer, it's unfortunate.
Fair.
You see what I mean? To understand that it's in your best interest to pay however much per month for Game Pass so that you don't have to burn so much money, and gaming is less of an investment, and it becomes because a lot of the discussion about games now comes from the position of people who have to keep paying full price over and over again. And one of the things about having Game Pass is that you don't worry about it. Like, I look on forums and I look on, online comment sections. People are arguing about, because, the Halo campaign is coming out in like 3 weeks. And like preview copies are coming out. And it's lost this discourse, right? And I'm like, I don't care. Because I'm not buying it. I'll play it. And aside from saving money, the peace of mind is of value, especially now during the end times. And not seeing all of that is unfortunate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think once you get in the ecosystem, it's a little harder. It's a little hard to explain if you're not in it, right? Like if you haven't been, like even Bacon, like we just got you in it. What, this year? Like I know you were
last year.
Mm.
I've been in the ecosystem.
Look at that.
It's just I'm on PC and I've been playing Final Fantasy.
Right.
So
well, what I meant by it is not necessarily that we didn't get you in the infrastructure, but like you had other stuff you were doing. But I'm seeing you actually like use PC Game Pass now, and I'm like, oh, okay, we got another one, and
oh yeah, there just wasn't stuff that like, how do I put it? There wasn't stuff that I could play in my downtime on PC Game Pass, and then some of the stuff that was, I actually wanted to pay for a copy for.
Okay, fair.
So like Boyfriend Dungeon, I paid for that.
Right. Yeah. Which is the thing that happens in the game. I realize that too as I'll play an indie game. Like I bought Unsighted, for example. I bought it. I didn't have to, but I did because, it's important. Yeah, so I get you. Please continue.
Yeah, and like there's some games where I'm like, there are also some Game Pass games where I'm like, I specifically want this on my Switch, so I'm not sitting at my computer.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't, my computer is in the living room. It's not in a private space, and I have to sit at a chair, and sometimes I just want to lay in bed.
Yeah. I mean, I meant it more in the lines of, imagine you're a Sony, like somebody that has PlayStation Now, right? Like I did at one point. I had PlayStation Now. And
it's like unplayable.
It's totally different. It's so different than being like, yeah, you're going to pay this amount of money and you really just don't know what you're going to get. And it's going to be either you're going to get like 3 or 4 AAA games. You got the whole thing of EA. And then you might just get like 5 or 6 amazing indie games a week that you want to spend your time with, right? But I know I'm getting something new every week. Every week, Game Pass almost has dropped something new. Hard to beat,
But it puts you at ease. There's something about it's something about playing games at ease. And it's kind of important. Like we really don't need I look at it that way. I see these arguments and I don't even engage in them for that reason, because I know that they're arguing from the position of someone who has to like pay $70 for this game.
Jesus.
And I'm like, shit, bro, you right.
I paid $70 for one game when I had that PlayStation, Returnal. And it hurts so much. And it not even in a bad way, because video games actually should probably be $80 or $90.
Right. But it just does, because we're in the end times. Like it just objectively hurts to spend that much money, and you have to, and you should either you should get some type of how do I put it? There should be an alternative to you spending so much money every time you want to play a video game. It shouldn't always be, and this is the way it is. It's the way it is with everything else, with music, with movies. It shouldn't be a per item investment anymore. None of this should be. You know what I mean? So it's
we live in a forever game. Like every game. Destiny just never mind. Well, that's for another show. 18 pages, those.
We may be off the rails, but we can't go Destiny off the rails. That's a new conversation.
Right. The best thing is I'll just end the show, because I'd be the one that leads the conversation. At some point, I'd just be like, well, that's fine. We're done. So it's fine. We're not going to talk about Destiny, or at least we shouldn't.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't.
We probably shouldn't.
18 pages. Why was it 18 pages?
Oh, that this weekend with Bungie.
Yeah. It was ridiculous.
Listen,
I'm fine with Bungie.
I like Bungie.
Wherever they're at, they're definitely the level of transparency and community support and the storytelling and everything. Like, but Destiny is the best. And also I like the fact that I don't have to I just don't have to look over my shoulder for corporate bullshit too much. You know what I mean? Like, they support the community, they support me, they support my people.
I know for a fact that they hire marginalized people.
Right. They
Like I know for a fact
right
what their hiring looks like.
Right. So it's like to know that, like, even like DMG, the guy, the like, effectively Destiny showrunner, was online talking about how the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict was bullshit. You know what I mean? It's nice to see these things.
I'm not gonna lie, I love watching that man roast people politely.
Oh my god! And
He's really good at it.
He's I don't know what drugs he takes at home. I don't know maybe this is cooking. I don't know, maybe it's the Coke submarine. I don't know what it is that he does that allows him to gracefully, because all he does is he just gets on Twitter and he just does that in the martial arts movie. He just gestures for everyone to come at him, and then he just kung fu's everyone for 30 minutes and then returns to wherever he came from. And I'm just like, I don't know what you do at home. I don't know whether you're like in a hyperbaric chamber where you're just like in nothingness, but like a phone. Like, I don't know what your story is. I don't know how you do it.
Not even like in a way that like he makes you like him more at the end of it. I mean, Cosmo's really good.
Like,
man.
he has a major. It's like like I said, to know that like there's a lot going on. There's a lot of transparency in every part of the game. It means a lot to me. Destiny has some of the loudest screeching lunatics decrying the game I've ever seen from a fan base. So there are a lot of people that don't see the value in it, but I do.
It's so weird. I'm just like, why are you playing the game?
You know what the funny thing is, and this is like, Destiny is now officially, like, out of all the games that tried to do the Destiny thing, it's the only one left.
Yeah.
Objectively, there's no other game in town, so you're just yelling in the parking lot while going through the drive-thru every fucking day.
You're literally squaring up with yourself.
You're still spending money.
Destiny sucks. Destiny, I'm tired of this shit. Fix your game, Bungie. I'll have a number 6 spicy medium with a
No,
Coke
literally. There was a person who was like, I was reading them on Twitter. They're just like, this is why Bungie is a terrible company. This is all the shit they're doing. I can't believe that they're just like being really horrible for all their like new players and blah, blah. They went on a tirade, and then like they literally said, don't get me wrong, I'm still going to pay for this.
Right.
Openly said that. And I'm like,
that is the Destiny fan base. Yes. They'll have a number 6. No cheese, onions, large Coke, please, thank you.
So when I was like one of my last my last like big customer service job, it was pretty funny. This person was like, that, you know, I gave them the price for the thing that they wanted, and then they looked at me and they're like, "You've got to be kidding!" I'm like, "No, that's the price." And they're like, "I'm not." Like, and they went on a 15-minute tirade in line while like counting their cash to hand to me. And my manager was looking over at me going, it's like, I wasn't sure if you handled it. I'm like, no, it's fine. I already knew he was going to pay. And I'm like, every time I see the Destiny fan base, I just think of that scenario.
Yes.
It's like this man's just like going like a good 15 minutes in line, like going through his cash, like making sure it was all nice. So like I could even like separate it in the register. So it was like he just like slapped that shit down. It wasn't even messy. He had it all organized while he was in the middle of this. I can't believe the cost of this. You're making me pay for this. Like, and I'm just like, okay, my dude. I was like, I wasn't sure. And I'm like, no, it was fine. They were paying for it. It was okay.
Right. So
that's the Destiny fan base.
That is the Destiny.
We're doing the Destiny thing. We're doing it.
And we're not doing it.
No, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. We're just talking about the fan base.
We're talking about the fan base. I'm not doing it.
I was just reminding everybody we're veering into doing
it. No, I'm ending it.
We're not doing it.
We're done with the show. Subscribe to the Patreon.
Well, fuck. See you guys next week.
Bye.